Hello, and welcome to the first episode of DuWo Talk, DMing with the DMs. I'm your host for tonight, Try. A very exciting first night here on the channel, folks. We are debuting our show by interviewing two, not one, but two of our best neighborhood DMs, our favorite Eldritch Feline Familiar, and Okami.
Hello, everyone.
I'm here. I just need a second to compose myself.
You've had hours.
You want me to start snorting in your ear?
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
Well, welcome to our show, you two. How's it going?
Oh, it's been a nice break. Good holiday.
A lot of fun over the holidays. But it'll be nice to get back in the control seat.
Yes, it's been quiet on the Dungeons and Dragons front around the DuWo channel. Are we excited to jump back into our regularly scheduled programs?
Well, I would like to say that Okami over here calling it the control seat. Are we ever in control?
You know what? We can pretend once in a while.
But seriously, we had a bunch of people wanting to do some one-shots this year, but schedule conflicts and the holidays just kind of made it rough, so it will be nice to get back into the familiar worlds.
Speaking of familiars, your icon is looking rather dashing tonight.
Well, thank you. I swapped out the tie and kind of, little clean up on the eyes.
I can tell that our team behind the scenes really dusted your cheeks down with powder today.
Oh, we wouldn't be able to do much without them.
Wouldn't do anything without our team.
And Akami, your eyes are looking especially devious.
Oh, thank you. I did them myself.
Oh, welcome. Now, I have reached out, and your fans have sent in their burning questions, a very special cantrip of sorts, much like one of our favorite games that we play here on the DuWo channel. We will let fate decide the order of these questions. For our live audience, please respect our creators and leave the booze back at the tavern with the drunken bard. If you have a question, drop it in chat. Just note that we will not be answering any questions that ask the DMs to pick favorites or least favorites when it comes to players, nor will they be answering questions that tear each other down. We're here for a good time, not a long time, so let's get going. Now, before we jump into our very first question of the night that I know everyone is extremely excited for, do you have any announcements?
I'll announce that we will be kicking off Journeys in Drutori next Saturday, which is, looking at my calendar here, the 13th. We'll be doing something that I've been working on with a couple other people. We're going to be doing a little kind of a recap of what happened last year. And we're going to be doing that by playing the world's favorite question and answer game, Jeopardy D&D.
Boy. I mean, Try has nothing to worry about.
No, Try's going to be fine.
Try's not involved. We don't, what? Show
Tries
crossovers aren't for us.
Tries safely going to be back in their wonderful home studio, not having to think about this for a little while.
Nope, continuously munching nervously down on my houseplant.
Excellent.
All right. First roll of the night. What question are we going to kick it off with? That is a 17.
Ooh.
This question comes from a lovely friend of ours. That would be one Calico. And their question is for both of you. What is your favorite character you've played in someone else's campaign?
Okami, I'll let you take this one first.
Ooh. That's tough. I'm gonna have to go with my Dompier Assassin Rogue that I played a very long time ago, before I even knew Doomy existed. And she was just a very fun character to play. She couldn't go out in the daytime, so I was carried around in a box, very Demon Slayer style. And she didn't get along with all of the party. She only got along with 2 people in the party out of the 6 of us. But it was a lot of fun, and I wound up having to leave that campaign due to some conflicts with the players. And I talked to the DM, and we wound up killing her off. And I made the whole group sob when I left. They were demanding to know that it wasn't true. There's no way, absolutely not. And I made them sob. I actually still talk to 2 of the people in that game, and they still talk about Amaris's heroic sacrifice to stop the Demon King from going after her friends.
We love a martyr in this house.
Oh, I guess that comes to me. There's so many. There's so many that I haven't played, and there's so many that I have.
Well, this question specifically says which ones that you've played. So I think that should narrow it down a little bit.
Well, I'm gonna have to. I'll have to go with one more recent. Honestly, my favorite character to have played in recent years is probably going to be Jazzy Torncoat. My Harengon swashbuckling pirate of a rogue that we played on a kind of a side quest with Okami. She was a lot of fun, a lot of quips, and honestly, one of the best examples of teamwork in a small group that I've had the pleasure to play in.
Now, I'm a little surprised that Scratch wasn't your answer.
Scratch is fun. Scratch is definitely enjoyable, but every once in a while playing against type is more exciting. Personally, I'm someone who is very comfortable in the position of taking charge and leading and all that, and it was kind of nice to play the kind of slightly neurotic, whiny little pirate that has a temper on her. It's kind of different.
Don't mind me just quietly over here, just, oh my god. Just breaking my heart in the best ways because I'm so fucking happy.
That it was one of your players?
No, just that people enjoyed that campaign, that weird goofy romp that we did.
Hey, I wouldn't mind playing Jazzy some other time.
Yeah. You know, I love a convoluted chaos crew.
Nope, didn't know that about you, Try. Didn't know you were the chaos type. You seem rather level-headed.
Oh, certainly, that's me. Follow the rules. Level-headed. Don't touch anything.
I will put out there that there may or may not be another adventure brewing for our favorite pirate crew. I confirm nor deny nothing, but let's just say that there is the absolute possibility that things aren't as stable as they seem with the arcane imbalance.
Folks, you heard it here first. We cannot confirm nor deny that Akami is the best for dropping that little nugget of gold on you tonight. Okay. Swiftly forward. Our next question is also for the both of you. And we're going to pivot from player to DM. What is the most rewarding part about being a DM instead of a player?
Well, since you took the last one first, I guess we can just kind of go back and forth on these. Honestly, the most rewarding part for me, and I'm not every DM, but for me, it is when you can bring out genuine emotion in your players. Knowing that you've written a story or set up a encounter or NPC or anything that has actually brought out genuine emotion in your players, whether it be sadness or genuine excitement or suspense, all of that, just knowing that someone's that engaged with your story is very rewarding for me, because it's just one of those moments that everyone is sharing at the same time and feeling similar things. And honestly, that kind of thing with your friends can be kind of rare. And knowing that you're the person who kind of put all that together for everyone to experience is kind of one of the best feelings.
Someone cutting onions in here. Oh my God.
Right?
The sincerity is dripping, and I do love it. Not to say that you have to top that or that is a hard act to follow, but
I mean, as long as we don't have to outright say it.
Yeah, but we'll just keep that between the two of us.
You mean the floorboards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a story guy. That's how it is.
Can't confirm.
I mean,
For me...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I was gonna say I can think of a couple straight off the bat that really hit some people. Some suspenseful and like very touching character NPC deaths.
Or we could save that for a possible follow-up.
Very well.
Uh-oh. Possible follow-ups. You heard it here first. My most rewarding thing kind of plays in with Doomy's, but mine is more of a technical aspect. When you've built your world and you've put everything in it, and as a DM, you have to leave clues to what your game is, to what the plan is, to where everything is going. And sometimes these are hints that are years in the making. You know, games go for a long time. And when somebody finally puts those last pieces together and you get to watch as everything suddenly clicks, as suddenly there are lines, you've had your thumbtacks and red string, but suddenly there's a blue string, and you can see how it all goes together, and it's that moment. And getting to sit back and watch is just one of my favorites.
Ooh, that is an excellent point. And I will say, probably maybe a hardship of playing online is that you don't actually get to experience that moment face to face, unfortunately.
That's true. That is
Yeah.
definitely something I miss.
Having the tactile sensation of clues too, being able to actually draw out the secret messages with your, your heat changing ink kind of stuff.
Oh,
And
you would spoil us.
I would enthusiastically spoil you.
And being able to harvest the fresh tears from my drinking cup.
You and that damn cup.
You said you wanted one.
I do want one. I haven't changed my mind on that.
Yeah, I think every DM deserves that, even us tabletop only. The next question comes from a friend by the name of Mr. Sir Duck. For both of you, what kind of D&D class do you dislike DMing for? Since they could absolutely derail your campaign in a moment.
Your turn.
Yeah, I know. And now I've got to think about that.
We're coming in with the hard-hitting questions here. This is the news people care about. Don't cancel me for saying that.
I thought it was pictures of Spider-Man. I thought everybody wanted pictures of Spider-Man. Oh, wait. Wrong news. A least favorite class. This is going to kind of sound like a cop-out answer, but I don't think I have one.
Not one shady little gremlin in there.
Oh, there's plenty of, I've had players at my table that have made me despise certain classes, but I would never say that there's one that I actually don't like DMing for, because you've got your barbarians that can beat down anything with a health bar. You can throw a puzzle at him. You've got a wizard that has a whole bevy of spells, and you just throw him at something he can't magic his way out of.
No.
No? There's a definitive
bards.
Easy.
100% bards.
Look, okay. You're going to need to explain yourself, because I can tell the audience is not going to let this go over easily.
I can easily explain myself. First of all, bards are a great class. They're a fun class to play. But bards have so many utility spells. They can mess up any encounter, especially once they get slow and or silence. Their freaking charisma is through the roof. Plus, some of the subclasses have advantage on persuasion checks. So any roleplay scene that you have is really not going to go your way if you rely on the dice, because the bard's just going to woo anything that they can. And not that I am a firm believer in problem players, but now and then a problem player has ruined bard for me, because they just exploit those very strong characteristics of the bard. And no matter what you do, there is always a few moments where the bard ends up having the main character syndrome, in my opinion.
Are you just saying that because you know it's my favorite class?
No. I've felt this way for years, decades even.
Okami's having war flashbacks.
The tragedy.
Since 3.5.
The dice have spoken, and we are on a roll continuously for questions that you need to answer together. The next one being a bit more juicy than the last. PC romantic relationships. what is the best, what is the worst parts you have seen thus far?
Oh, it's my turn again.
You get to start this one.
Best and the worst.
Give us the dirty details.
Well, let's start with the bad first. The worst player character romance aspects. I would have to say, oh, we're going way back. Before I started with my duo crew, I had done some tabletop in my garage, and we had a couple people coming in, and we had our core group that was two, and then we had a couple more come in, and one of the new ones wanted to start a relationship with the one of the usual players, and it just I don't know. Like, when the worst aspect for me is when it moves into real life, when people can't separate RP from real life, and it starts to make people uncomfortable in actuality. Um Such things like getting kind of jealous when one half of the couple can't attend a session but the other one can, and so they quote unquote miss out on time together. Like, that's a little weird. But yeah, that would be the worst aspects of it for me, is when it bleeds out of RP and there's actual uncomfortableness and jealousy in there, which doesn't happen all the time. um the best aspect I've seen is, honestly, when the relationship feels probable and real, and honestly, kind of a good kind of example of that is the relationship between Jason and Mia Lana in our Black Razor trilogy. Honestly, I mean, there's ups and downs, there's fights, there's times when they can't stand each other, and there's times that are very touching between the two. So it's got a very realistic flow to it. So those are my opinions on that.
I will concur that, not that you said this, but I'm reading between the lines that they are the cutest.
I would never give any superlative to any of my players in regards to my other players.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to. That's my opinion. I play no favorites, but that's what I heard, guys. Just kidding. But I think your opinion is extremely valid. It is difficult for some people to separate character from real life. And when you bring in a character's romantic feelings into someone who can't separate it, it gets very complicated, and very awkward for everyone else in the group.
Yes.
Okami.
I will also agree that Jason and Mia are the OTP. I'm not the DM in that group. I'm one of the players. I can say it. They're fucking adorable.
Loopholes.
Exactly. Exploitable loopholes.
Now would be a great moment to plug our YouTube and TikTok, because if you want to hear moments from these wonderful couples that we are talking about, that's where you're going to find them.
Jason is our favorite timeshare.
Check us out on YouTube at DuWo Gaming, and in TikTok as well under the same name. Subscribe, hit that bell icon, click those notifications, and join us here weekly.
Oh, and now no longer able to stall anymore.
Yes.
I think for me, the worst aspects of PC romance is similar to what Doomy said, when it bleeds out, but also when there is no discussion of boundaries. There's no talk. There's no, hey, player A, character B wants to have a romance with your character. Is this something you're comfortable with? You can always have the person that wants to initiate this, and then it gets handled very poorly, and it sours the experience for the rest of the group.
Consensual courting.
Consensual courting. Always consensual courting.
Absolutely love that. That is a brilliant call out. We have all seen the memes and the stories of people who are hounded in real life. The I don't have to be nice to you kind of talk that's been going around the internet. And consent is a big deal. It's always been a big deal. It is very important. So to have that side conversation with someone you believe that your character would be interested in, so you do not surprise them in a role-playing moment, I think is brilliant.
100% agree.
It's a very important thing, and I think I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a soapbox here for just a hot second, and then I'll talk about my favorite aspect of this, because I do have a favorite. It's important for all parties involved, not just the two people that are there, that are involved in the relationship. Everybody has to be involved. If character A and character B are having a relationship, that's awesome, that's wonderful. But if characters C and D aren't comfortable with this, that's not okay. Characters A and B can do that stuff privately with the DM, because if characters C and D aren't okay with this and aren't comfortable with this, it shouldn't be at the table. Everybody needs to feel like their wants, desires, needs, and boundaries are being heard and are being respected. I've had, unfortunately, more than one table where two people get into a romance, and all of a sudden, when we're in the middle of trying to stop the big bad, whatever it is, from taking over the world, they're fucking picking out curtains for the dining room. Not bad, but they're not playing the same game we are. And it can be very frustrating. Now, to tangent very nicely to my favorite part of a potential PC romance, when everybody's on board, it makes for some amazing character moments, like Doomy said, and like we've seen with some of our players. If you have everybody's on board, everybody's enjoying it, it can make for some of the most uplifting, heartwarming, just deeply passionate moments you can have. And it can also make for some of the most gut-wrenching, heart-stopping, stomach is falling out of your feet panic. Because everybody's invested and they want to see what's going to happen. And it builds an amazing sense of connection, as long as everybody's all in agreement.
Yeah, that's great. I wish that we had been streaming at the time, because Doomer did make our whole party cry IRL over a NPC relationship.
Yeah, that was what I was kind of hinting to.
I know.
I set up sad music from an anime that's really sad, and there was like a little final words monologue.
Oh.
So just know, players, if you give a DM cannon fodder, you will have them blast it through your stomach.
And your heart.
Yeah. Which for some of us is in our stomach.
Hey, everybody says the fastest way to a man's heart is through his stomach, but I prefer going through the rib cage.
What a time. All right. So this next question will be the first to split off to a specific DM. And this is for Okami.
Uh-oh.
What PC of any DuWo channel campaigns do you find yourself wanting to be friends with IRL?
Oh no. Can I pick more than one, or do I only have to pick? Can I only pick one?
Say you could pick a petite trio friend group.
From any DuWo campaign.
From any DuWo channel campaign.
Okay. Garganoth, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Like, number one on my list.
Top tier.
Yeah, Garth is one of a kind in all the best ways.
Hawks is number two. Just because he's so sweet and he's so kind and just he's also just so dumb in the best ways.
Every group needs one.
Every group needs your resident himbo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some swagger, no brain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, he's got the swagger. And you know what? He really has a big heart.
Is that like the Okami equivalent of Bless Your Heart?
No, the Okami equivalent of Bless Your Heart is, oh, sweetie.
All right, players, you're listening. If she's ever said that to you, now you know what it means.
And number three. Ooh, this is a tough one. I feel kind of like I'm playing favorites because I keep going back to Journeys in Jutori. But it's just of all the DuWo campaigns besides my own, it's the one I'm most familiar with. But I gotta go with Odd.
Oh, throwback.
Odd's a good one.
I would love to be able to just sit and have conversations with Odd.
You do realize that you just picked out 2/3 of their detective agency.
I did not know that. Even better.
Which I don't know what that says about you, to be honest.
I have a thing for noir detective novels, don't worry.
You have a thing for silly, dumb friends.
I'm sorry, have you met me?
Frequently.
Yeah, you've seen the group I've collected.
That says alarming things about us. Don't question our intelligence.
I've never once questioned it.
Right, because you don't think we have any.
That is you reading between the lines.
That's where I live.
Fair enough.
Hey, that's a good group. I concur that would probably be a fun time. Ooh, we've already asked that one, Dice. Next question. Back to both. From Mr. Sir Duck. What was the most heartbreaking scene Doomer, you have been able to curate for your players? Now you can go a little bit more in depth or choose a different scene altogether.
All right. Well, we were playing a version of Demon Lords of the Underdark. I'm not sure if that's Into the Abyss, I think is what it is. Or Demons in the Abyss. Whatever the Underdark campaign is. And I had modified it a little bit here and there. And our team was what was your character's name?
Me?
Yes.
Ventus.
Yes, Ventus was looking for a mentor type person from her past, or their past, and had given me a whole bunch of backstory to work with, and so I decided to have a little bit of fun. the evil Drow Queen had been chasing them for this entire campaign, which is part of the module. But when realizing that the party was getting close to getting out of the Underdark and breaking the surface, the queen ended up having learned of this this NPC from Vences's past, had taken him, kind of charmed him into doing a few things, and then used him as bait in order to bring Vences out. It wasn't until right after Vences had found this character and had kind of been betrayed by the mind controlled / charmed character that he was killed by the Drow Queen in his attempt to kind of break away and save everybody in the party, and Vences included. And as he was after the fight had concluded and everything had calmed down and aid had been starting to be rendered, he kind of expressed his feelings for his and Ventus's relationship and softly passed into the darkness. And it was a very gut-wrenching. I mean, I designed it to be, after all, if the character were to die, it was going to happen this way. And I believe I picked a rather sad song from the anime Angel Beats to play.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the one where the girl who likes to play baseball.
Oh.
She got her wish and like talked to the one dude about how they would have spent their life together, and then yeah, it was really sad. It was really sad. It was hard to write. It was hard to speak through. And yes, it was painful to do that to Vences's player, but at the same time,
if you will, people. I came into this campaign saying, Doomer, I want to play a character that is just there to help. I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to make any decisions. I don't want anyone to lean on me. I'm just there to sincerely be a PC of utility. I created this small half-drow wizard, cinnamon roll to the nines, carried around this little sketched portrait of a man that them may have had a crush on, and asked every single person that I found, have you seen this drow? Without fail, every single one. Only for Doomer to wrap that up, line it with lead, and throw it back at me. And when I tell you that I had to mute myself and leave the room because I was sobbing, I was so sad and disheartened by this. And it didn't feel fair at the time. It still doesn't feel fair, let me tell you. I still have lingering trauma from this episode. But it was very powerful. He took my good faith and destroyed it.
I wouldn't say destroyed. Utterly decimated and
yeah.
I mean,
I was ground zero for the atomic bomb,
which was very utilitarian of you at being the bullseye.
Thank you.
Hey,
I'm only there to help.
You wanted to play essentially a utility tool, and you know what? What better than the actual explosive device?
I play the most side character I could manage. Okay. You know me, Akami. This is not, I'm there to have a good time. Okay. So when someone you love dies tragically in front of you, after they were brain controlled by the bitch queen. It really affects you. So that was a great example. Doomer, thank you so much for breaking my heart. It's still not back together in one solid piece.
Sorry for making you relive the trauma.
My most heart-wrenching moments probably haven't happened yet. Sorry, I have a cough there.
Stop it.
That's all I'm going to say.
I don't like that.
Oh, you're going to like what happens even
No,
worse.
I'm not. It's going to
You're right.
be 2.0.
Correct. That's all I'm going to say. No, the most heart-wrenching moment that I have ever facilitated as a DM, because it's different as a player, because as a player is Amaris's death. And honestly, that's probably the most heart-wrenching one I've ever facilitated. So in that game that we were playing, our DM had introduced a repair mechanic for weapons and armor. You actually had to tend to your weapons and armor, or they would degrade. You know, if you're not polishing your leather, it's going to fall apart. If you're not cleaning your sword, it's going to break down, things like that. And it was really easy. You could do it during a long rest. All you had to do was say, DM, I'm maintaining my gear. You didn't have to go into detail, none of it.
But what's
One
the
of the
fun in that?
things,
Sorry.
it was, no, you're fine. He was testing the mechanic out, so he didn't want to get super deep into the specifics. He has since gotten super deep into the specifics, and if you don't have all your components and everything, it doesn't work.
I was teasing. I didn't mean to derail you.
It's a D&D talk. If we're not derailed, I'm concerned. But Amaris was a very quiet character. She didn't like being the center of attention. She didn't like being directly involved, just due to a lot of tragedy in her backstory. Shocking, a rogue assassin with a tragic backstory. I was thinking, I was playing 4D chess at the time. But she would take it on herself to maintain the gear of her teammates. If the fighter hadn't had the chance to maintain his armor while everyone was asleep, because she was awake most of the night, she would do it. And so when we got to what I found out later was the final battle, because nobody could bear to go on. They wound up obliterating the BBEG when he was supposed to get away. I didn't know you could have a negative health bar. Like, you can have a negative health bar. I didn't realize you could have 2 negative health bars. But the DM and I discussed, and Amaris had been so focused on maintaining her teammates' gear, she'd been neglecting her own. And she never told anyone about it, because why would she? And so she had gone off to face the big battle alone, because she didn't want to put her friends in danger, because he was the vampire that had turned her into a Dhampir and had forced her into this life as an assassin and all that stuff. Real tragic. And so they burst in just in time. They'd heard the sounds of fighting, and they managed to burst into the throne room just in time to watch as her 2 swords snapped, and he reached into her chest and ripped out her heart.
Ooh.
Yep. Sobbing. And they obliterated him. He was supposed to escape and was supposed to continue on. And even the characters that never quite saw eye to eye with her on anything, the ones that she never got along with. Oh, I was crying. I knew it was coming. I knew I was going to die. But just the way everything happened, and much like you do me, my DM had also had music queued up, and he had his whole villain monologue as she bled out, and they were able to connect with her in the afterlife where she finally was able to tell them that she's at peace, she's not in pain anymore, she doesn't have to suffer, she doesn't have to struggle, she's not afraid of people finding out what she is, and there was not a dry eye in the room.
Oh, those are the best.
Those are some good eye drops.
Ugh, these damn onion ninjas.
Oh, the onion ninjas. Beautiful. I love a heart-wrenching story.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Now, Mr. Sir Duck has asked us to pivot to a different side of D&D.
Uh-oh.
If you could rewrite one character or one scene from your DuWo campaign that you had made, what would you have changed?
If I could rewrite one scene and do it differently, there is a moment that was never streamed. There was a fight that I had organized for my players while they were on the ship against a group of harpies. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I would do that fight very differently. I probably wouldn't have changed the enemies that were fought, but I would change overall how I handled the encounter. I would adjust the amount of enemies, and I would adjust one of the NPC's reactions to everything.
Interesting. Is there a why?
Yes, but I don't want to go into a huge amount of detail just because it does involve someone who is no longer part of the campaign. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to reveal a lot of information just because this is... the short version is things were handled poorly and this person wound up leaving the group partially because of this and also because of some other things that were happening. And I will leave it at that.
Sure, that's fair. Our eldritch feline friend.
And I'm going to disappoint a lot of people with this.
You're going to talk out and say nothing.
No, but as a DM, my least favorite of the Lights Gambit campaign, the part that I feel like I botched the most. And in a little background, I'm a tabletop player originally, and I really only started doing online tabletop with the group that we have now. And honestly taught most of these people D&D. We had a few that knew some previously, but all that backstory aside, honestly, where I feel like I was at my lowest and least compelling was probably the very beginning of the Lights Gambit campaign. It just felt unoriginal to me. Like, even while I was doing it, like I did the whole tavern thing. You meet at a tavern and the local government has called for adventurers to aid some dark corruption that's threatening the land. And while it was very cliche and very fitting for a bunch of people who were new to the game, I just always look back at it and I know I could have done better and done more to really engage the new players. And honestly, I feel like that's probably the most of my shortcoming is the very beginning of that campaign.
Hey, we all start somewhere.
True. But
And
So
we're
you want
only
the-
human.
You went with the other cop-out answer. The beginning of my campaign sucked.
Right. The very first part was I'm not gonna tear you down. That is a valid answer.
No, I'm just gonna lovingly bully you and be like, yes, the beginning was terrible, but it's supposed to be. And look how amazing everything is now.
Yeah. Everyone's beginnings are rough. There is a learning period, especially when you have new players. Where maybe something that's a little bit more watered down than you would do now can't hurt.
yeah, I don't know. I know I could have done better if I'd put more time into it. But
Hindsight.
yeah, exactly.
Can't beat yourself up over hindsight.
I've put plenty of effort into everything recently, especially the 5-year revelation that happened in the last episode we had.
Oof. Oof. We want to
Tune
talk
in
about
for
heart-wrenching.
next week's game of Jeopardy D&D to see what that revelation was.
Yes, actually. That is
Yeah.
one of the questions.
What happened on this day? We all cried. What is tears were shed enthusiastically, Alex?
Don't ask me for any answers.
You're
don't
gonna-
have them.
You're going to be asking for the answers.
Oh my god, it's like you knew I wouldn't be able to play.
You're going to be asking for the answers and giving me the questions. That's the way Jeopardy works.
I don't want to. Can I be the host?
No, I gotta be the host.
No.
You can be Vanna.
I know all the answers.
I don't. That's why I shouldn't play. And you say, try. You're the worst player ever. I don't dispute that claim.
Excuse you, back the fuck up. Try again.
Try again.
No. You are cornered now.
That's
Try again.
Sister. Try again.
One thing about me. This interview is not about me, but you're gonna find out anyway. I'm bad at notes. I'm so bad at notes, you guys. Therefore, if I don't remember it, it just goes off into the ether.
You're not the worst player ever.
Aw. Well, there's that.
You think I take notes? I rely on rewatching DuWo episodes to remember what the fuck happened.
Try's brain is just a sea of bing bongs fading into the darkness.
It is. My God, the amount of times in my life that I go bing bong, for real is actually alarming. You don't want to see the Inside Out movie version of what goes on in this head. Thank you, Haustrom, for the shout out for Akami, because everyone needs a friend like that.
I will love and support you. If you can't do it for yourself, that's fine. If I can't do it for myself, that's fine. I will aggressively love and support you. You do not get a choice in this matter.
Herself, and we're still working on that. We all love and think you're the best.
Hey, you know what? Every step forward is the right step to take. Sometimes they go backwards, but sometimes I just go forward in the opposite direction.
Okay. Also, grace, people. Give us grace next week. We haven't played in a long time.
Oh, it's been a minute.
There will be no grace. There will be death. Wait.
Can there be partners?
I will have tried my team, and I will carry us to victory with Jeopardy.
Oh,
Those who
thanks.
answer wrong will be banished to the Shadow Realm.
I'm the personality hire, friends. I'm not there for the answer.
You're the diversity hire. It's okay.
I am the diversity hire. Fantastic. Well, speaking of potential diversity hires, what was something your party did that still makes your headache?
Do I only have to pick one?
We might only have time for you two.
Oh, there's so many.
I know.
Or it makes your booty hole clench. Whatever reaction.
Oh, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but Sometimes my players have such harebrained schemes, and no matter how many hints I drop or or little phrases I use, they still go ahead with them. And every once in a while they work. I am recalling a fight in a small edge of a lake with a floating platform high above the water, fighting skeletons on each side, and a batshit crazy ranger going in to try and take out one of the generals of the big bad, and pretty much succeeding and surviving by 1 HP. I thought for sure they were going to bite it. I was ready for them to bite it. And no matter how many times I tried to kind of warn against it, they still did it. I got a headache, my blood pressure went up, and then they succeeded. And I was wrong, and it worked out just fine.
We love our ranger. Shout out to our ranger with the tank complex.
Yes, Kaylin, indeed. But yeah, well played. Well played.
I feel kind of bad because it's pick on Gamma moment, but
Oh no.
I'm gonna have to go with diving into a pool of liquid, assumedly, that looks like the stars in the sky, while basically having a nuke strapped to your chest. I'm sitting there waiting for this character to bite it, waiting for everybody to realize, oh hey, this time is ticking. This person has dove into liquid. We don't know if they can breathe liquid. And thankfully, one of the other party members kind of went, we should pull them out. Oh, and I should also amend. This character originally did not have a rope tied to their waist and was going to dive without the rope.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that was one of those. If there was a moment where I was preparing for an accidental TPK, I was sitting there. I had eulogies planned.
Oh no!
It was going to be beautiful. I had a funeral planned. Would have been wonderfully touching.
That party can't TPK. They're a bunch of little gold mines, just little nuggets.
You guys are all just. I'm not going to be able to throw something at you that actually kills you. You guys are going to wind up killing yourselves.
I mean, I am working on nukes, but
Yeah, I'm aware. Between you and Hellstrom, my world is never going to know a moment's peace. And then then you're going to roll a nat 1 on something, and you're going to wonder what uranium smells like.
Oh no. Can you build us a panic room on the ship? Preferably actually a sidecar panic room that we can go into and leave when you decide to do that.
bold of you not to assume that Scratch does not have a panic room built into his cabin.
Wow, so selfish. Little shit.
I said bold of you to assume. I didn't say it was true or not.
All right. Out of all the games you have DM'd for DuWo, including one-shots, side quests, what group of PCs do you think would win in a battle royale?
Are we talking like same level or where they are currently?
And also, like, what are we classifying for battle royale here? Are they going against each other? Am I putting all of my groups together? Like, what are we counting here as the battle royale?
All right. So this is a Mr. Surduck question. So I'm sorry if I take an incorrect liberty with your question, Mr. Surduck. But let's say current level, and the battle royale is against all the other DuWo groups. Who do you think comes out on top?
Invictus Sanctum.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
No,
It's going to be Invictus Sanctum.
I disagree.
Ooh.
Honestly, I think the Cloud Chasers. I think the Cloud Chasers would sit back, watch the other groups destroy themselves, and lower their numbers, kind of because they're lazy, and then go in and end up destroying everything with their adult white dragon friend. I think the Cloud Chasers would take it all.
Rebuttal. Why would Invictus Sanctum win?
Scratch. Halstrom. Have at thee. Between tactical nuclear device number 1, tactical nuclear device number 2, and Lachlan, tactical nuclear device number 3, in and of themselves.
That's why I think they would destroy themselves. Because let's be honest, Scratch and Halstrom don't work that well together, and Scratch and Lachlan definitely don't work that well together. They're gonna get into each other's way, and there's gonna be a mishap, especially in the heat of battle with like 5 other groups. Because you got Lights Gambit, you've got Invictus Sanctum, Cloud Chasers over on the hillside eating sandwiches. Um, you've got the group with Mishanri and the gnomish detective. You've got Group B with the dark sorcery and basically the convicts.
Yeah, and the convicts, and then the fucking parole officers.
And then you've got the trio, the 2 dysfunctional siblings, and the pirate.
Yeah, my straw hat pirates.
So yeah,
my quartet crazy.
I really
Journeys in Jutori. What are they doing?
And Lights Gambit, yeah, Lights Gambit. I mean, they would be the most courageous of all of them. They would probably do the first attack. They'd probably rush right in and.
You're saying no one picks off the Cloud Chasers for easy.
No, I don't think so.
Squasher.
I don't think so.
Aren't the Cloud Chasers still like level something very low?
Yeah, but they have an adult white dragon.
Yeah, but I think we have a group of people that could take down a white dragon.
But after taking down all the other groups too?
Yeah, but Scratch has Salt, and Salt just got upgraded.
True. I don't know.
Rolo.
And Rolo. That, of course, Rolo. The best boy.
I don't know. I'm partial to the dragons because, like, dragons are master tacticians and long-lived, and even though they're a bit greedy and pompous, I mean, the mental capacity of a dragon itself, especially since that's who's basically guiding the Cloud Chasers now.
But if you take out the dragon, the Cloud Chasers are kind of doomed.
True.
And between Scratch with Salt's upgrade, between Shadowface McStabby Stab, who fucking killed your Shadow Dragon, did the most damage to it. Yeah. I think Invictus Sanctum, I don't think it would be a wide win. I think it would come down to probably the Cloud Chasers versus Invictus Sanctum. But I feel like Invictus Sanctum would take it.
Believe me, I hate voting against my little Chaos Gremlin. But, I don't know. And here's the other thing.
Lights Gambit would make it further than you think they would.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially...
My High Pirates would be eliminated almost immediately. I love you all dearly. Fuck.
Yeah. Especially if Lights Gambit had all of their MIA/dead comrades with them. I mean, Lights Gambit's just so big. Lights Gambit is a guild almost to itself. So, I don't know.
Well, and Invictus Sanctum has some missing members too that are all power hitters.
True. Yeah, agree to disagree.
Oh, of course.
I love to see it. Okay. What was something you did that made a good story element and took liberties on instead of adhering to the dice you had rolled?
Sacrilege. We're not allowed to
Never.
talk about that.
Never once done that.
Oh.
Only ever have gone by the dice rolls. Sorry, I'm allergic to my own bullshit.
We're not allowed to do that. Not allowed to talk about such things. What happens behind the DM screen stays behind the DM screen.
Wow. So
The
you're telling me.
stars are not in position for the sacrifice.
Yes. The stars. Sacrifice. Not today.
Audience, what you're
Talking with-
hearing is a load of bullshit coming straight from the source. You don't have to go into grave detail. That would hurt the feelings of your players. I'm just asking if there maybe is a general situation that's happened. Maybe you didn't want a player character to die that would die, so you narratively took charge. You gravely miscounted the difficulty and you gave a baddie a few more hit points than they have on their character block.
Okay. All right. Lights Gambit had to go retrieve a staff for a wizard that was a very powerful staff. And they had to interrupt a ritual because the cult that had the staff was trying to use it to summon a Draco Lich from the depths of this chasm. And the party was already looking kind of worse for wear. And I was keeping track of how many rounds the ritual had been going on. And with 2 people down and the rest of the party kind of looking bad, I may have accidentally miscounted how many rounds the ritual had been on, and it ended up taking longer than it was supposed to, which in turn made it to where the Draco Lich wasn't summoned and the group didn't get devoured by a giant undead dragon with magical superiority.
Mm.
I'd like to plead the fifth, Your Honor. I refuse to perjure myself in court.
Well, too bad. This is not a U.S. court. This is a court of try. And our motto here is try again because you're answering that damn question.
There's been a couple moments in Adventures Anonymous that have not looked favorably upon my dear companions, that I have had to creatively adjust results that may not have been as fortuitous as originally intended.
I thought I was being vague.
I don't want to give too much away because there's a couple things I've had to fudge that one is very story relevant, one is not, but I'm not going to tell which is which, so I'm just going to be vague.
Okay. For everyone listening at home, she's basically saying, my players are stupid, and I've had to make sure that they don't fall off the edge of the cliff every day. That's okay. We take that. We take that in stride. Now, this follow-up question is specifically for our feline friend. So, say Journeys gets into a situation where they are in far over their ability level, okay? Currently. And with the things that we're fighting, this might be a plausible situation. Would you ever pull punches to keep the narrative going because we're on stream?
DMing is like an onion. No, that's ogres. Um,
Mm.
DMing is constantly a balance between structure in the rules, emotions of the players, sanity of the DM, and the rule of cool. And while to mention something Gamma mentioned in chat down there, the rule book does tell you to break the rules if the story would be helped by it. And if Light's Gambit and Journeys of Dratori were to get in over their head, would I pull the punch? No. No, I don't think I would. Had I been asked that question a few years ago, I probably would have said yes. Um, but I think my players are mature enough now that if they were to lose people, characters, that while it would be painful, it would also be captivating as a story, especially if someone survived. Um, I may pull a punch to prevent a total party kill, but if it's just a punch where a few members are gonna be gone, then I don't think I would.
Mm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Hey, that is a moral code to stand by. Now, this next question is also just for Doomer. Don't get jealous, Okami. It will be your turn soon enough. This question for Doomer is, what was the inspiration for Jutori?
Oh, wow. When I was
A young boy.
actually, yes, when I was 16, um, playing around on Yahoo Chat before it got destroyed. Um, I'd already been role playing, writing stories and such for a couple of years, and I met. It's funny. Um, I met this character in a chat room called the Slave Auction, which is where everybody in RP hung out because it was where white knights hung out and people with more devious ideas and wants in an RP. And I had talked to this player and had told them that I wanted to write a story where the villain wins. And we played this out, and we've played it out probably a total of 3 or 4 times. Different time periods. We went from like medieval fantasy to modern fantasy, back to medieval. And Astral became a very good friend of mine throughout the years. We've known each other for at least a couple decades. I won't say how many because then I'll date myself. But
You already did with Yahoo Messenger.
well, yeah, a lot of people were on Yahoo Messenger. Uh, but yeah, we wrote this, and some of the RPs got transferred into story mode, and some of the beginning of the RPs was already a book I was writing called Shadows of the Eternal Flame. And actually, our big bad is that villain that I wanted to see what would happen if the villain won. And as we played this together, we brought in all these different NPCs, which are now NPCs in this world. And we designed the world, at least a small corner of it, and expanded upon that. And this whole world just was really interesting to me, like, you know, a world that lost their gods. They're not sure why they lost their gods, but um it ends up being one of their, you know, almost gods that ended up taking out all their gods. And the whole thing was based off the teenage role plays in a chat room and on message boards of two people back in the day. And yeah, just kind of grew from there. And most of it was already created by the time we started our campaign. And it's just the campaign itself is giving me a lot of reasons to flesh out more parts of the world and to make things that have happened with different characters now canon, and for different people's backstories to become canon and help influence how the world works. And yeah, so yeah, that was the full inspiration all those years ago. And it's been a ride. It's been a ride. Um Looking back on it now, there was some parts that it was like, oh, yeah, definitely was 16 when I wrote that. Got to got to change that some more. But yeah, Astral was a big part of the Dratori campaign in the beginning. We were bouncing off ideas like, oh, we got to flesh this out, and she would help me write some things. And then sadly, her interest changed a little bit, and we didn't hang out as much anymore. And yeah, I kind of like to get back into hanging out with her and fleshing out some of the stuff, but people's lives are busy and crazy, and hopefully we can make it work and maybe finish this out and see where the story goes, and hopefully she could be a part of it when we get to the point where, you know, the Silvari can actually show themselves. But yeah, that's the inspiration. And I know I kind of rambled there for a minute, but yeah, that was it.
No,
It's a good ramble.
yeah, it was really interesting. Um, Not anything that I would have rolled off with, like, oh, I think it's so and so. I wouldn't have guessed. I think it's really cool that it's a story that's kind of lasted the test of time. But follow up, like, this is my personal follow up question: is what is Drutori? Where did that come from? What does it mean?
Oh, um, I have this crazy method that I developed when I did a lot of creative writing on how to make interesting names. I always found out to myself that every name I came up with sounded like another name. Like, I'd take two words and I'd mash them together, and I'm like, oh, anybody's gonna know that I just took two words and mashed them together. Um, or they were like different language words, which I quickly learned a lot more people know how to speak those languages before, uh, you can go. But um, I developed a method, and I'm sure I have the notebook somewhere, where I would write letters out, because there's only 26 letters of the alphabet, but the RSTLNE you use more than anything else. So
Of the English alphabet, we're not here to offend anyone else's language.
yes. Very true. But there's a D100, and I would roll a D12 or some other dice once I found out if I wanted a short name or a long name. And I would roll that dice a few times and pick out the letters that those dice would give. And I'd attempt to make some form of a word with the letters I was given. And of course, once I have some kind of like, Drew, Tori, some syllables that sound plausible to be made into a word, um, then I just would go in and add letters or subtract letters or adjust the sounds, just to kind of give the words more of a randomized feel, and not like, oh, that's derivative from Constantinople, or that's derivative from London, or that's derivative from any of the famous towns in the Forgotten Realms. So yeah, I have a dice system, and then I just kind of tailor whatever the dice results were and use that as kind of a jumping off point. And Drutori was actually very much of a shorter name when the inspiration came, and I added all the like silent H's and and the J, and and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
And why did you change the name to Jutori?
Okay. It was originally the Lands of Clefairy. And first of all, it sounds like Clefairy from Pokemon. And I didn't want to go there.
That's where my brain went automatically.
But at ground zero, Clefairy actually came from my role-playing days on Yahoo Messenger as well. There was an old way to figure out what your Jedi name would be back when episode 1 came out. And it was the first 2 letters of your last name and the first 2 letters of the town or city you were born in. And that's where Clefairy came from. So I didn't want to have that be the legacy from some stupid little internet meme back before memes were a thing. And so I decided to kind of let the name grow up a little bit and become its own thing.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
I enjoy that. I enjoy that immensely.
It feels so appropriate that the original name came from a Star Wars meme.
Absolutely. Like 100%. I'm honestly surprised it has nothing to do with Ghostbusters.
Well,
yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
We're not talking about those parts of the campaign.
Yet.
I knew there was something strange in that neighborhood.
Will not reveal my secrets.
You will. You absolutely will.
Eventually.
It's in your contract that you signed, actually. So sorry, you didn't read the fine print.
Haha! Contracts signed by minors are invalid.
Lawyers, ew. We don't own an island. We will not come out on a list. We do not associate with minors. Thank you.
Yeah, there's not enough Eldritch catnip.
Like, oh my god, you guys are terrible. I was talking like gold miners, obviously. What is wrong with you people?
Oh, hell.
That's where you're going.
Look, it's relevant.
It's in the zeitgeist.
I hope everyone has enjoyed the first part of our little interview. And by little, I mean epically awesome, fantastically amazing. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. And by quick, I mean we'll see you in 10. Stop. Just kidding. Keep going. Come on. Thank you, and welcome back to our DuWo Talk, DMing the DMs. And let's just jump right back into it. The question the dice would like to know, for both of you, is what was the scene that had the entire party crying tears of joy?
Well, it doesn't specify which campaign. I feel bad because a lot of my stories are from before my DuWo time.
We're here for the DuWo deets. I would just like to remind you that.
I will say, probably one of the ones that I think had people laughing the hardest was way back before we started streaming with Team B, with Guyver doing his absolute damnedest to get this this weirdo band of criminals off with community service. And the quippy banter with Reginald.
Oh, you mean trying to piss off Reginald?
Trying to piss off Reginald, as only a good lawyer can, of course.
By the way, I'm fucking your sister.
Oh.
Oh, it's a whole thing. She's a willing participant. She hates her brother. It's wonderful. There's so much tea. But I will say, I've definitely had a couple people tell me that just Guyver is one of their favorites because he's a witty asshole and he's funny.
Tears of joy. There's very little joy in Drew Tory. God, I'm so good at telling sad stories. That's the problem.
You might need a therapist.
I mean, heck, the first town we streamed in, they found a story where the children had died in the. Let's not go into that. Oh shoot. Tears of joy. I mean, I thought there'd be a bigger reaction when they got the young girl back, but there wasn't much there.
Much to my chagrin.
Yeah.
I would have thought that would have been a more exciting moment for that part of the party.
I mean, it was kind of exciting, like the way everyone worked together to bring her back. But
that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty good. There's been so many good jokes, which I guess could, be part of the joy, but yeah, I need to really look at my style if I can't remember many jokes or tears of joy.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Yeah, nope. Don't remember any. Can't bring any to mind right now.
It's alarming. I'm not gonna lie.
Everyone seemed to enjoy Jessamine a lot.
Some more than others.
Yeah, some more than
Jessamine
others.
is very delightful.
From when she came in and smashed the mechanical dragon to the little face-off between Malagos and her. I mean, yeah, that was a pretty good high point. But yeah, I pass.
That said that wasn't an option, but
Well, I mean, if there are none, what are you? Okay, I'll make up one.
thank you.
There was the three bushes that were hunting down the one who had killed their brother got revenge.
Oh my god, that is funny. Those stupid bushes.
Yeah, okay, that was. I thought that was good. I thought that was really good.
And our party for being questionably attached to foliage.
For everyone that knew exactly who they were after.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that group. They're gonna save the world someday.
Someday.
You know. As long as the volcanoes stay inactive and forest fires quell themselves, they just might.
Okay, well there you go. There's some tears of joy.
Thank you. All right. Both of you. What was the most lighthearted thing your current duo party has done?
I feel like this is very similar to the last one.
Right? Like
Different.
I'm trying to figure out like what fucking lighthearted. Like what? Shopping montage?
I would say, maybe some like downtime antic.
The Festival of the Sylvari.
The coffee prank war.
The coffee. Yeah, the festivals seem to be pretty. Everyone seemed to enjoy themselves, and we got to see how Saren could dance. That's right, the arm wrestling. That's a good one, Charlotte. The arm wrestling contest. Yes, that's a good one.
Who won?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember who won. I just remember it was fun. And that's the best kind of game, is when the winner doesn't matter.
You're just saying that because you don't remember.
I plead the fifth.
I think you forgot that
me.
you can't do that here.
It definitely wasn't Hawks. You're right. It definitely wasn't Hawks.
That makes sense. Yeah, poor guy.
I don't remember who it was, though. I'm sorry to my Lights Gambit people if you were the winner. I'm sorry if I've forgotten. And if the NPC won, I'm not sorry. You should have rolled better.
Wow. The audacity.
Treat your dice better. They'll be good to you. Take those dice out of the bag every once in a while. They like sunlight.
Dice are social creatures. Make sure they're properly.
No, you have to cleanse them under the full moon. Don't listen to Doomer. He has no idea what he's talking about.
You have to properly your dice.
Set them out with your crystals. Bathe them in moon water.
It might have been Oddstum.
We're just gonna say it is because that sounds great for odd.
Nope. Canonically,
Odd.
Canonically, I hereby claim that Jeffrey won.
Okay, you can't because Jeffrey is not here or there or then or
You
when.
don't know. You don't know. He could have been there. Only I know the details of the world.
So clarify.
If Jeffrey was there, that means Ventus was there. Is
Jeffrey a mouse?
Yes.
Jeffrey is a mouse.
And you didn't. You guys didn't check every face in that tavern. I mean, Ventus could have been there.
I need more of these little surprises sprinkled throughout. Like when you're watching a movie of a large conglomerate company that we shall not name, and they put in past characters.
Walking along a bridge, going to a wedding.
Yes, absolutely. We need more of that.
Yep.
That's always fun.
Was it? I thought Jeffrey. Maybe Jeffrey was a rat.
I thought Jeffrey was a mouse.
I thought he was a mouse. I was specifically told at one point he's a mouse.
Is he a mouse? I know Ventus had a rat familiar.
And Jeffrey was drawn as a mouse.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually, Jeffrey was drawn as a rat.
Oh. I thought it was a mouse.
No, different tales.
Oh, different tales.
Well,
Anyway.
it's a good thing I didn't even know that one.
I'm just going to say that there are so many stories in my head that there is hardly room to remember the endings of every one.
Mm-hmm. Okami.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna need a refresher on the question.
Lighthearted moments.
I believe your answer was coffee.
Right.
Coffee prank.
Coffee prank war. Yes, the coffee prank war. Well, it's the coffee prank war or the dinner party with the Kitsunagis.
That was better.
It's a really good one.
Yep, that was better.
That was
way better.
The coffee prank war was just the first thing that popped in my head, but definitely dinner with the Kitsunagis was just. That was a really good, fun time to just let the players relax. And everybody got to wind down. There was no pressing, looming threat. You guys got to meet some fun NPCs. You got to learn more about the world. You got to learn more about one of your party members. You got to meet Masaru's family. Part of it. I won't even say most of it because it's only part of it. Yeah, big
Only thing that was missing was a nice public bath.
It's a bold assumption.
Been great.
They were there. You guys just didn't explore.
We were on a mission.
Yeah, we were on a
You
mission.
guys on a bit of a mission. You still had the chance to relax and rest, but it's a bold assumption that any respectable house like that wouldn't have at least one onsen. Ridiculous.
Also, in the player's defense, our rogue's family is hidden from the world and we know nothing of their culture, so we wouldn't know to look for it.
Very true.
Fair enough.
Very
Yes,
true.
they do live in a hidden away village, away from the judgmental prying eyes of the more, quote, traditional races.
Like pandas.
Yes. It's no, not like pandas. Pandas are a figment of our group imagination.
Pandas aren't real.
Pandas aren't too real. They live high up on top of a mountain in a sacred village where the dragon warrior visits with them and teaches them how to fight a spirit ox from the shadow realm.
There is no way that pandas can be that stupid and real.
They are.
If it wasn't for human beings, pandas would not be around today.
No.
Yeah.
They're not smart animals.
They're not. They're just not.
Though watching them troll like the maintenance people in their pens.
Oh my god.
That's so funny.
That's why they're also a spirit animal, because I strive for that level of
Like, they're smart in the funniest ways, and then they are stupid in the most frustrating ways.
Yeah.
It's like a high school student.
Yeah.
And I also question how they keep themselves alive sometimes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not going to apologize because I've seen our demographics and that's not our age bracket. So if you aren't,
apologize anyway.
I'm not, but that's just because I have some friends that have high school age kids and I will enthusiastically make fun of them because they're good kids and they're dumb as fuck. Some of the smartest kids you'll ever meet and some of the dumbest all at the exact same time.
All right. Akami, this is for you.
Oh no.
Your group has an airship, and mechanics of this can be tricky but super fun. Do you wish it came into play more?
It's a yes and no situation. A lot of D&D takes place on the ground. That's where you're going to find a lot of your world building. That's where you're going to find a lot of your adventure. And I have several things set up once they start exploring the skies more, but I wish that there was a better way for me to implement the airship other than you have this very convenient, gigantic floating city. What would you like to do with it? And use it as a fast trap.
Gigantic floating cities.
drop it on a shark.
If I can drop it on a shark and send your tech priest surfing.
Paint it with bubble stuff and go into astral space.
Yeah, I would love to play more with the airship stuff once that becomes more viable again. I would love to be able to implement that more again as more than just a convenient A to B transportation device that's faster than horses or a cart or just about anything other than actual teleportation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping soon, once things progress in a particular manner, or a non-particular manner, or just progress. Progress would be great. Then we will get to have more opportunities to yank our poor dear Captain Scratch from the happy confines of under the crust of the planet back into the sky where he has many fears.
He has no business of being.
If I was supposed to fly, Colonel Mac would have given me wings.
Exactly.
And yet, he's the captain. It's a baffling.
That's because he was there
situation.
first. And he signed the papers.
He did. He signed the papers. He signed everyone up. You guys have so much paperwork you have to do. I will give this to you as a freebie. You have so much paperwork you have to do.
Yep, he even asked. How do we pick a captain? Well, you write captain next to their name.
Pretty much. Okay. In that guy's defense, would have assumed at this point you already talked about it.
Yep, that's what you tell the kobold with the crazy look in his eye.
Hey, you're not the weirdest person those people have dealt with.
Probably
you think
not.
you're
Not even the weirdest person in our group.
Very true.
You think you're the first kobold with a crazy look in your eye to come through one of the largest mage halls in that area?
Yeah, but at that time, Scratch was also putting on his dumb act, where he wasn't letting everybody see how smart he actually was.
Yeah. And again, you follow the procedures, you just write captain next to it, because as far as he knew, you were the messenger. And then you were captain next to your name. He kind of went, shit.
And then I bought a hat.
That is a very nice hat.
Yes, and that a hat a captain makes.
Exactly.
All right, Akami. You get another question.
Is this payback? Because Doomy had to do 2 in a row.
Yeah. The dice do what they want. What was your number one challenge as a streaming DM, and how would you suggest new DMs overcome this?
Oh, easy. Getting over myself and recognizing that you're gonna screw up, and that's okay. You're gonna have problems. You're gonna be nervous, and that's totally fine. It is important, more than anything, it's important to rely on your team. There have been many a time I have come to Doomy and been like, I can't fucking do this. And he's basically sat me down and went, shut the fuck up. Yes, you can. And it's true, because you can do this. It's easy to look at any big streamer. It's easy to look at things like Critical Role, Dimension 20, anything like that, and think to yourself, this is how it should be. I'm not like this. And it's really easy to get yourself stuck into this whole world of, I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be good enough. They're not going to like me. Yes, they are. And even if they don't, that's okay. They will leave. Someone else will come along and someone will like you. Your friends are there to help support you. If they had problems with it, they would tell you. If they had issues, they would tell you. If they're not telling you, you probably don't have any issues. And if you do and they're not telling you, that's something y'all got to figure out yourselves. Communicate like adults.
Listen to the support of your friends.
Yeah. Listen to the support of your friends. Listen to the little voice in the back of your head that says you can't do this, and tell that voice to go stuff itself. Because yes, you can. You're not doing it alone. You're not building the world alone. You're not building your community alone. You have your group. You have your friends. You have your favorite eldritch feline familiar, the angel and devil on your shoulder, going, hey, you want to come do a thing? Cool. I'm going to make sure you do this thing, whether you like it or not. Oh, you regret this decision? Too bad. Because 2 weeks later, you're not going to regret it. You're going to be so happy you did it.
Aww. That spoiler alert, we love you. And we wouldn't let either of you fall. And we stick around for a reason. You know?
We go down as a team.
Yep. In a fiery whale.
Or the bloated belly of a frog.
Or the bloated belly of a frog. Or jumping over a fence. There are so many ways.
I'm gonna need that story later.
Which one?
Jumping over a fence. I've heard the bloated belly of a frog. I'm gonna need the fence story later.
It's not so much jumping over a fence, but being thrown over a fence. It's fine. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna need all of those details.
They both involve the same character.
Oh no.
One character, two deaths.
Yeah.
What a way to go.
One in the churchyard.
Yeah, a shame. The dice are really loving you, Okami. This question's from a Biggie.
Oh god.
If you could alter one thing about the world of Novasa, be it geography or setting, what would it be?
Because I know he's listening to this stream, you would. If I could change one thing about Novasa, I would change a lot of the geography for how I have arranged the world. Nobody has ever seen the map. Well, a couple people have seen the map. But the way I have it imagined in my head, the way I have built the world, and the way I have described it, I would go back and I would change it, and I would make it a lot bigger. The world I've created is very small in reality. It is a very small world. And I would love to be able to expand on it. And I can, yes. Like, technically, I can say there's a whole other back half of the map you've never seen. But I would love that. That's the big thing. I would love to go back and make the world bigger.
Okay. We are back to both of you. Mr. Sir Duck would like to know, what was a consequence your players suffered because one of them decided to steal something small? Perhaps their small action led to destroying a town, as an example.
It sounds like somebody knows specifics.
Doomy gets to go first.
I don't know about stealing something small, but once upon a time in a little town called Garreton, Light's Gambit was tasked with finding out why the local ruling government was acting so strangely. Well, along that, the wizard got themselves arrested, and while breaking Wizard out of said dungeon, the birdie rogue decided to steal a bunch of gold that they found in a chest in a locked up room in the municipal building.
Ironically, the birdie rogue just showed up.
Hi, birdie rogue. So yeah, the birdie rogue stole, and I know the birdie rogue doesn't like this story, but I'm already ankle deep in it.
Yeah, you're committed to this bit now.
Birdie rogue stole the money and took it, and after revealing that the mayor was the mayor controlled, or was the mayor actually the demon? I don't remember. Wasn't important. They went to report to the capital and found out that the entire tax treasury of the town had been stolen. And having been given a chance to give up the money, it was not given up, and the entire group spent 6 months in jail.
Yeah. Yes, happened.
Sadly, this was not all recorded, but yes, that was the first time the party spent some good quality non-consensual time together.
In jail.
In jail.
In jail. That has to be specified.
So yeah, I mean, it's a fun story now, and you know, it's fun to laugh at now. But yeah, it happened. And we shall,
Nay.
Birdie Rogue shall remain nameless.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I'm
The
pretty sure
bird shall not be named.
Birdie Rogue has potentially already outed themselves, but you know.
No, that was their choice.
Oh, way back for me at the beginning of Adventurers Anonymous. Way, way back before we'd even streamed, before you guys had even collected the candle. My party had journeyed to a small mercantile republic independent of either set of ruling monarchs called Ossiforus. And in the party at the time, there was a bard. They completed their quest. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
This was the trauma in the previous question we decided to skip, but here we go.
Oh no, this is only part of the trauma. I could have talked about the thing on the ship.
Oh.
I could have brought that up.
Just a small disclaimer, all names have been changed to protect the persons involved.
Any similarities to persons dead or alive are entirely coincidental. But the party had completed their quest, and this was less had stolen something and was more, I will generously call it digging a hole. And the bard attempted to negotiate a higher quest reward, which turned into attempted blackmail. And I know Scratch was involved with the talking down of the councilwoman who basically was getting ready to summon the guards to detain the entire party. And only the bard wound up being detained, and but the rest of the party had basically promised to not come back. So no actual fires, but it was a very near miss.
I too will need that whole story later.
There's so much there. There's so much there.
We're
Keep
gonna
it
have
to
a
the-
post green room party, people.
Ooh.
Keep it to the game, not the IRL stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
only talking about the game. The IRL stuff can stay way far away, but I'm only talking about game stuff. There is so much behind the scenes that even you didn't know about.
Oh, I'm aware.
My. What a tease with the tea. No. We already answered that one. Dice. Get your shit together. Okay. Without specifics, obviously, this question is for both of you. Player character X. What is something a player character can do that just gives you the ick?
I hate that term. So much.
The heebie-jeebies, the nausea, the pain in the skull, the eye roll to end all eye rolls.
Crit fail, lockpick check, and still pass every time. Pisses me off to no end. Like, I respect the taking the feats and everything and building the character that way, but just Let me have a locked door, damn it!
Never.
Oh, sorry to the studio audience. Turned into a bat.
Why a bat specifically?
Because that's what the magic item lets them do.
Tell everyone in the audience that I preface this without saying specifics. So you are specifically choosing to say this. It is not led by me. I have no affiliation with these answers. Thank you. You provided the magic item.
I know I did. But our group forgets they have so many magic items. And this one has not been forgotten.
The one that you want them to forget is the one they will never forget.
Would you care to elaborate as to why you dislike it so much? I was thinking that we were going to get answers like main character syndrome, min-maxing.
Min-maxing would have been a better answer. I'm going to change my
that
answer to that.
Yeah, can I go back? Can I redo mine? Like, can I?
Sure.
Min-maxing is very like I know some players enjoy it and I know that's like their thing, but in my opinion, in my philosophy, having flaws to your character is important to the character. Because I mean, especially in recent years, we've all seen what happens when you have a protagonist that has no flaws. Nobody enjoys it. So, I mean, even back when I was a kid, like Thundercats, Lionel was kind of cocky and he got himself into trouble because, he was too cocky. Same thing with like Bumblebee and Transformers. He was cocky, got himself into trouble. He was young and inexperienced. Like every protagonist had some kind of flaw that, they had to overcome. And min-maxing is kind of my thing because not only do people usually just min-max their number stats, but also their character traits and things. But so that I don't sound like a cop-out, I rarely give my players things that allow them to fly, and I don't know. I was just disappointed in myself when, with the bat thing. Has nothing to do with the specific player. It just has to do with the mechanic of it. That's all.
You rarely give characters something to fly, and when you do you make them say heinous phrases in order to get off the ground?
50% of the time, yes.
50% of the time, all the time.
50% of the time.
Are you changing your answer, Okami?
I am a little bit. Well, no, I am changing my answer. Main character syndrome, and just because it always comes from the people that don't realize that they're doing it. Because everybody is a main character. Everybody in this game, the only person who's the quote unquote mainest character is probably your DM, because they're involved with everything. They have to be involved with everything, so they're like the narrator of a story. They're gonna know it all. But when when you have that person that has to be involved in everything, their character has to be involved, has to have input. It doesn't make it fun because you're not telling everyone's story. It feels like you're telling one person's story and everyone else has to be backup characters. When the reality is, everybody is just as important as anyone else's story. And yes, I do have at least one particular player that I'm thinking of with this. Doomy knows. I'm never
So,
gonna be under that.
a follow-up question is, if you run into this in your game, how do you handle it?
Min-maxers,
for all those potential DMs out there wanting to know how to deal with some player character conflict.
honestly, and this has been my philosophy forever. If it doesn't hinder someone else's ability to have fun in the game, then I'm not going to sweat it. Even though I personally may have an ick about it, if the players in the game see nothing wrong with it and they don't have a problem with it and they're not complaining and everybody's having fun, I mean, who am I to tell somebody if that's what they enjoy doing to not do it? Now, if it becomes an issue and, people have to, work around it, or it's not fun anymore, then it's something that needs to be talked about. Or you find out that the person's doing it to troll and just cause issues. But on a grander scale, and my personal philosophy on it is, if it's not hurting everybody's chance to have a good time, don't sweat it.
As far as dealing with main character syndrome, a lot of times people don't realize they're doing it. And so having that genuine heart to heart where you sit them down one on one and just explain that, what's going on. You've got people that are feeling sidelined. You feel like other players feel like they don't get the chance to have the spotlight. A lot of times your quote unquote problem player, will recognize this. And a lot of times they will be willing to work with that. And they may ask to have somebody kind of act as, I don't want to say a babysitter, but maybe have somebody act as a catch me. Hey, if you think I'm doing this, can you let me know so I can roll it back? And that can be the DM. When you have the person that isn't willing to listen, isn't willing to have the conversation, isn't willing to change, then you have to make the hard call as a DM and figure out if this person is a good fit for your table, good fit for your group, all these things. Because you as DM are responsible for everyone's enjoyment. Not just this one person, not just yourself. Everyone needs to be having fun. And if you have a person who's hindering that, unfortunately, they could be your friend, they could be your partner, they could be your parent, they could be whoever to you. Unfortunately, they might have to go. But that is a conversation that you have to have that conversation of, hey, this is happening first, before anything else. And then you may have to trim the weeds.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. I took a drink right when you did that, so.
Okay. I mean, I think those are definitely good ways to deal with potential conflict, those specific potential conflicts. This next question is for both of you as well. Do you feel like there is a class missing from your current groups? Obviously, Doomer thinks He needs about 6 bards.
Do we
Got
have
it.
a missing class in our group? I mean, we have 9 people.
Right? I'm sitting here thinking that like I've got 7 fucking people in that party. I don't think we have space to miss anybody.
I
Well,
mean,
neither of you have bards.
I've tried bards before. I'm not doing it again.
coincidence. Huh, I wonder.
Yeah, right?
I would like to stand up for all the bards out there and bard players
Oh,
and say boo to both of you.
usually they're on their
And
knees, but you can stand if you want to.
absolutely.
Hey, it depends on who's the bottom.
There are plenty of things that you can do standing. And I promise when my characters die that I'm coming back as a bard.
Do I need to remind you that the bard in our group is now your big bad?
Yes.
By the
Remember,
way,
I don't take notes.
fair enough. By the way, the last bard you had in your party, you guys have gone through 3 bards in that party.
Hee
2 left. 1 is evil.
Love that for them.
I think what I sound like sounds like your party's anti-bard party.
Goals.
Stick-
Um,
I think
There
we
are
have every
things-
class.
Yeah, I'm running through my roster, and I think we have just about everything covered except bard.
no blood hunters.
No, it's a different game.
I mean, it's available to us, but
I have one of those in a different game.
our Kyrie tried one of those in the previous game.
Mm-hmm. Is there a warlock in Invictus Sanctum?
No.
You sure?
Well,
Is somebody multi-class?
multi-classing.
Multi-class. That was not looked at as a, oh no, this excludes multi-classing.
You don't know where the Venn diagram falls in my brain.
I don't have a Venn diagram in my brain. I have squirrels at a rave.
Cartoon.
Bing bong.
Crayons and toilet paper.
My brain is powered by 6 energy drink addicted squirrels who were given silly string and fucking light up bracelets and rave music.
And sniffs of cocaine.
No, they all have ADHD. That's why they're on the energy drinks. Because the one time they can manage to cobble together a single serotonin, then they're just bounced off the walls. And also, oh no, where's the goddamn music coming from? And which tab has it?
Invictus Sanctum.
Yeah, I don't think. I think. No. We might need a warlock in Invictus Sanctum.
Is there a fighter?
Yes. Curious.
We have a wizard?
Lachlan.
I thought Kyrius was a ranger.
He's got levels in fighter.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorcerer.
Probably Lachlan.
Anything we don't think we have is probably in a multi-class with Lachlan.
Probably. That's what I'm saying. It's like, warlock, probably Lachlan. Wizard, probably Lachlan.
Paladin.
That's me.
Agime.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Cleric, 3 of those.
Yeah, we have
Artist,
cleric.
2 of those.
Yep.
Ranger, a couple of those.
Yep. We don't have Drew. No.
Yeah, you do. Well,
We
Not
don't have a
anymore.
druid in Journeys.
This is true. We don't have a druid in Journey. A druid could be actually interesting in Journeys.
Well, we had one. Just don't have one anymore.
Yeah. Don't have one anymore.
Um, we just in fun. Um,
It's like if we want to count, because like if we're just counting Invictus Sanctum, I can think of a couple classes that I'm missing. If we're counting all of Adventurers Anonymous, I have everybody covered.
Yeah, I think we're
Except
pretty
Blood
covered.
Hunter.
Whoa, Gamma. We don't need to call Augie out like that. They tried their best.
Hey, Augie is a valuable asset to this team.
They don't do much, but they're cute as hell not doing much.
Augie is there as moral support, and once I get more of the appropriate enemies, will absolutely be a powerhouse. Not my fault you built an anti-undead paladin and an undead campaign.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't get information on the campaign before I built my character.
Fair enough.
None
That's
of
my
us
bad.
did.
I mean, that was kind of part of the fun of it, though, because in my defense, this was supposed to be 4 sessions long, and then we go from there. But you guys decided to fuck with all of my plans. And now here we are.
Tiki.
I wouldn't have it any other way, though. But yeah, I genuinely think in Invictus Sanctum, we have pretty much everything except maybe Druid, a primary fighter, and a barbarian.
Oh.
Yeah, we are missing a barbarian. In both.
It comes from having so many clerics.
Because you've got Gar.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
At Tech Priest Halstrom, no, you're not fucking sorry.
Yeah, Scratch is going to get to the point where he starts slowing Masaru so he can get a kill on something. I can't slow.
Yeah, can we talk about derailing this conversation for 5 seconds because Augie never gets to do anything. Because our rogue is so good.
Yeah.
Augie provides the moral support that our group needs to continue to tolerate each other.
And reading material.
So excellent reading material.
Right, for all ages.
In
however,
all genres.
All genres. If you were ever interested in actually playing Dungeons and Dragons with like weapons and fighting, Augie does not get to play that game.
I'm working on it. I promise I'm working on it.
It's okay. You know, we only have a player that plays 8 characters with 47 homebrew aspects to it. It's fine. And we love them dearly.
Sorry, but not sorry.
That's how we feel about calling you out. Mr. Sir Duck would like to know from both of you, what was something you regret doing to your players?
Nothing.
Ouch.
Something I regret.
Something I regret doing to my players? Doing to my players.
Yeah.
I tend to be of the philosophy that the players do it to themselves.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's like that I did to my players.
What happens is what you did because you created the world.
Then that would be the only thing I regret is creating the world.
Oh,
it's like those big fences in Jurassic Park that says, "Be aware, 10,000 volts. Do not touch," and then you touch it.
Yeah.
That is for great cinematic, universal, just beautiful world building. And how dare you use Jurassic Park as an example for stupid players? We will not tolerate the blasphemy.
I mean,
not in this house.
I mean,
not on this stage, not on this TV show, not on my time.
Like trying to play fetch with a Dilophosaurus that's gonna spit acid in your face before it eats it off.
But it's so cute when it does it, though.
Get the stick.
I just want.
Get the stick, stupid. Get the stick.
I just want to give it chin scratchies and tell it it's a good girl.
Yeah.
I No, I don't regret that. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm racking my brain. Like, I think I have one thing that I regret doing to my players.
There's some mechanics that we tested out that I regret doing to my players, but story-wise, game-wise, I don't regret any of it.
Yeah, I think I only have one, and it's just simply because it was an attempt to bring in somebody else, and it just went really, really poorly, and everybody wound up frustrated at the end of the session for different reasons, and I think I regret trying to introduce the person in the way that I did. Other than that, I regret nothing that I have done to any of you.
Thanks.
Not even the chittering worm.
Fuck the worm. I hate that worm. That thing haunts my nightmares.
I hate anything that begins with the word chittering.
Would you prefer skittering worm?
No.
Maybe there'll be an evolutionary cousin called the moist chittering worm.
I won't be playing.
Ooh, and there's an offshoot of the moist chittering worm called the damp chittering worm.
I quit. If I wasn't contractually obligated to finish this interview,
Yes.
I quit.
We won't unlock the chain to your desk yet.
Yeah, you guys can't see, but behind my desk there are very large balls of chains.
There's very large balls behind that desk.
Very large balls to deal with these two. Doomer, the next question from Big E is for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you could add one character from Adventures Anonymous to Journeys to shake things up, be that drama or comedy, who would it be and why?
Player character or non-playable character?
I would say a player character.
Player character.
What about one of each?
Well, the NPC would be our little fox mechanic.
Yes!
And the player character... Burley.
Oh.
Burley and Garganoth would have got along so well.
Oh, Burley and Garg would be best friends.
They'd be brothers.
Oh my god, they would be brothers. They would find out that they are related somehow and be brothers. Oh.
Yes, that's my answer.
Burley!
It's perfect.
Oh, it's so perfect.
And only a few of you understand that reference. Do you feel cool?
I don't think anybody except
No.
maybe one or two other people are going to get that reference.
Yes, we all miss Burley.
Oh, Miss Burley. He's doing well, though. I talk to him periodically, and he's going through it right now, but every time we talk, he always extends his greetings.
But yeah, that's my final answer.
Well, next question is also for you. The dice have smiled. What advice would you give a new DM who wants to homebrew their campaign?
First piece of advice, you don't have to have everything written in stone. It's your world. It can change as you go, and no one else will be the wiser. If something feels like it needs to be 2 miles up the road, make it 2 miles up the road. If it feels like it needs to be 10 miles west, make it 10 miles west. The part of making a world that feels like it's alive and that there are consequences is malleability. Change is a good thing. And letting other people incorporate their stories into your world and letting those stories change how your world operates, wonderful. But aside from that kind of advice, if you're homebrewing and not using a module, official module that has all the information there for you, my clerical, more boring advice is to get a list of about 20 names and have it conveniently within arm's reach to your left, because they're going to ask you names of characters that you just made up in your head 2 seconds ago.
And not everyone can be Bob.
And not everybody can be Bob or Steve or Jeff.
Or Carl.
Or Carl.
Everybody can't be Carl.
Also,
But
don't.
they can be Carl with a K.
They could be. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Again, it's not a mistake unless you tell everybody it's a mistake.
There's no such thing as a mistake, just happy little accidents.
Exactly. It's your world. Do what you want with it. But always remember that even if it is your world, how do I put this into words? Yeah, today's sponsor is World Anvil. No. Even if it is your world, don't hold the reins so tightly that nobody else can guide the boat. Don't railroad your players just because it's your world. Let them explore. And the more they explore, that means they're engaged with your world. They want to learn more about your world. The more questions they ask, take it as a compliment. Don't take it as a burden that, oh, now I got to figure this out or now I got to figure that out. You know, the more your players interact with your world, the more they're enjoying it. And yeah, that's what I would say. Have confidence in your creation and flaunt it.
If I may add some advice that my mother gave me a long time ago when trying to fake confidence: head up, shoulders back, tits out. No one has to know.
Yeah. Shoulders back, tits out. I mean, there's really no other advice anyone needs. And on that overwhelmingly positive note, Akami, this question is for you. What is your favorite monster to throw at a party?
Ooh. So that is a question that is, I'm not going to have a specific answer. I'm not going to be able to tell you chittering ribbon worm.
Wish you wouldn't.
That's why I'm not going to say
That's why she didn't ask me.
it. I would say my favorite monster to throw at my party is, for Adventures Anonymous, specifically Invictus Sanctum, is going to be anything undead, because that's just very thematic for the groups that they've been fighting. For my Straw Hat Pirates, it's going to be things that are going to be more foresty, for lack of better phrasing. It's going to be more like packs of wolves. It's going to be ice sprites, things like that. Group B, we never really got much into them, but it was a lot more of the groups. It'll all depend on my narrative. But if you're gonna make me pick one specific item, it's going to be an adult black dragon.
Perfect.
Or specifically, an adult shadow black dragon with an ego.
We love an ego.
I still love that we both had one of those. I still think that's the funniest fucking thing on the planet.
Mr. Sir Duck would like to know from both of you, how many times have you had to play off a scene, making the players think it was your idea when in reality, the players suggested it and you simply stole the idea?
Stealing the idea is a little harsh of a word.
I think we both prefer the term appropriated.
Creatively appropriated.
We acquired the creative license to it.
I mean, honestly, what DM doesn't do that? I mean, the players give you backstories, and you take those backstories and you put them into the world, and you know. But no, seriously, it's not something I keep track of. I mean, it's happened a couple times, but not for like malevolent reasons. It's more for to make them feel like they are part of the world, and that, you know, they get that little epiphany moment, even if it might not be fully true, that, oh, I figured this out and it was totally my idea, and I figured out something that nobody else did, and secretly the DM hadn't even figured that out yet, but now, yes, you figured it out. You saw the context clues that was never supposed to add up to everything, but now it does.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be that exact thing that you mentioned right there. Yep.
Conveniently. Do you remember that thing that you mentioned 4 sessions ago? No, I sure do.
That chip in the teacup that was pointed due north by northeast. Yep, that pointed straight to that secret door. Yes, it did.
100%. It totally wasn't supposed to be the handle, and I just mentioned the chip first, so that's what you focused on.
Yep.
Yeah, my answer's pretty much the same as Doomy's. I can't give you any specifics for when that would have happened. It just kind of naturally progresses.
You know what? Yes, sometimes the backstories need a glossary, a table of contents, sightings for their work, and a quick search bar.
Index for terms, like not even just a glossary, but like frequently used terms, an index, a translation guide.
I feel
great.
targeted, Doomer, and I refuse.
You know, how you feel in this moment, that's all on you.
Hey, if the shoe fits...
We made an agreement not to call any one person out in this.
And we're not. Viewer, if you are taking this upon yourself to admit and confess now...
I confess nothing, but I know that Doomer is talking about me. I know it. It's not paranoia, it's just fact.
Uh-huh. Is that what we're calling that?
Anyway.
I have now quelled my backstories down to 0 pages. Thank you. Doomer, this next question is for you.
Oh boy.
Thoughts on a modern campaign with up-to-date or futuristic technology?
Ooh.
I will
Ha-
be AFK for just a moment.
I've tried
Goodbye.
a modern campaign once before. I didn't like the system we were using. I don't remember exactly what it was, but someone had taken the D&D classes and kind of modernized them into usefulness and such in a modern world. Um it's hard. Like you can't doing realistic modern is very difficult because part of the fun, at least for me, with D&D characters are they have so many abilities and magic is just cool. I mean, but there's so many abilities to be used and it's all because it's a fantasy setting. Like, you know, it's that's just what it is. And trying to come up with a class system for the modern world is just so difficult. And like I said, I've tried it. I didn't come up with it, but I've tried someone else's system before, and it was just I don't know. For me, the wonder wasn't there because it's like, oh, these are all things that I deal with in day to day life. Like, I have a cell phone, and I have this, and I have access to this, and I don't know. I D&D is an escape, and while I might be up for something like in the Fallout universe, which is like post apocalyptic but also 1950s. That could be really fun. I just I don't see myself playing long in a world or campaign based around modern day. It just it's not escapism for me that way. It's I don't know. For me it's boring. Other people may enjoy it. Other people may like it and be able to do like current events and things like that all to their heart's content, but for me I'm a fantasy sci-fi guy and that's where I feel best.
Sci-fi could be futuristic.
True. And I have to admit I did watch on Critical Role. Ashley Johnson did like a alien-esque like
Mm-hmm.
sci-fi thing, which was kind of cool. I didn't quite understand it all. I'd love to see like the actual physical rule set for that, to see like the classes laid out and stuff. But again, like I don't know, there's something about magic and casting spells that's just has me. And like I've done Star Wars sessions which are fun, and I've played in like the Dragonlance universe. The Star Wars was fun because you could be a Jedi and have magic powers, and some of the tech was like having magic powers, but yeah, I don't know. Modern just doesn't do it for me. It's not my thing. I've not been huge into that.
Right on. Well, the dice want us to continue down your road there, Doomer. What is your advice for stopping metagaming in a party?
Um, Gamma, you're not the one asking the questions. My eye was drawn to that
Revisit
word.
that. I know we can revisit that question after
In a
you
minute.
answer this one.
Um, sorry, brain switched off for a second. Repeat that question. Oh, metagaming. Never mind. Metagaming.
Yes.
How to
How would you
quell
stop it?
metagaming. This is very difficult. Ooh, how would I stop it? I mean, with me, I have a way of keeping notes. Um, I have one of those notebooks that has like the line drawn down the middle of the page, and I usually keep all of my character notes on the left hand side of the page, and then I'll make little like player notes to those character notes, like such and such happens, and then over here it's like this is the same guy that um your other party member met in town, but you weren't there, so keep that in mind. That's how I do it myself, so I don't accidentally remember something that I'm not supposed to remember. Um, yeah, we did say ask questions in chat. You're right. But oof, as a DM with other players, it's hard. It really is because at the end of the day, it's more of a self-policing thing. Like as a DM, it is difficult to keep track of what everybody should know and what everyone shouldn't know as players and characters. And I totally see nothing wrong with stopping a session for a moment and looking at a player and saying, "Hey, your character probably wouldn't know that. I mean, you know that, but your character probably wouldn't. So why don't we phrase that sentence a little differently?"
Mm-hmm.
And some people might feel like that's being called out at the table, but honestly, it's just trying to keep the game honest. Um, Anything like that, talking to a player is best. And if corrections in game, like during the session, aren't working, talking to them out of game. And then if they continue to have an issue with it, I mean, it's D&D is a cooperative role playing game. Key word being cooperative, and that means everybody has to communicate and get along together. And sometimes words are what needs to be said. And yeah, I would say just talk to the player and try your best to help them uh, keep in mind what they should and shouldn't know, and explain to them the importance of that. Um, no player character is omnipotent, and you shouldn't play them that way.
So, what about a Ghostbusters modern day campaign?
Oh, see, that's tough. It could be fun, and I've seen people try and do some rule sets. I've read 3 or 4 different rule sets for like the tech and stuff. That I wouldn't DM a Ghostbusters modern day campaign. I might play one just to see, because now that I'm thinking about it, we did do a campaign with Okami, and I made a Power Ranger out of the D&D class of a warlock.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't exactly modern day. I mean, the character had knowledge of modern day, but it wasn't in a modern day setting, so I don't really count that. But Ghostbusters modern day campaign could be so much fun. Could even be fun, like having the Ghostbusters fall into the D&D world, into a haunted dungeon. I mean, that could be interesting.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Interesting.
But
would you say that they would all have at least some paladin multi-class in them?
the Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, turn undead could be seen or work that way. Maybe not making them go away, but using the proton pack to pull them in. Honestly, the best class suited for the Ghostbusters would probably be um 2 artificers, a bard, and a multi-class jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vankman as the bard, Winston as the jack of all trades, and Spengler and Stans as the artificers. So it could be done. I now have a side project.
I counter and I say that anything can be made into a D&D game if you're creative enough. So,
Oh yes.
if anybody wants to run a Jurassic Park at least one shot, please call me. Or BioShock, because I think that would be heckin' fun.
Ooh, Bioshock.
Bioshock could be interesting.
Ooh. Also, I just want to put out for the record, Doomy, you picked the one single Power Ranger that I am gonna pick out anywhere.
It took you a little bit. It took you a little bit.
The only reason it took me a little bit is because of the name. Had you phrased the name differently, I would have picked up on it instantly.
I couldn't.
And the only reason I picked up on it that quickly is because I had the hugest crush on him as a kid.
Yep, most of us did.
I mean, how could you not?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
All right. Now, this next question to me is really exciting. If it's for both of you, if you could have any celebrity, I would say alive,
dang it,
play at your table, who would it be?
Henry Cavill. All hail the king.
That man would not be allowed away from my table.
I'm torn. My first idea was Vin Diesel, since I know he's played before.
Ooh, that would be so fun.
Yeah.
And my second idea
would be trapped at the table.
My second idea, I can't remember his name, but that guy who does like all the Disney voices on YouTube.
Ooh, yeah.
I think having him at the table doing voices of his characters and everything would just be so much fun.
Ooh, you know another good one would be Terry Crews.
Oh my god, yes. Terry Crews would be amazing.
So fun. Have you seen him draw?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
The hidden talents of Terry Crews.
Yep.
What a spectacular individual.
I feel like Robert Downey Jr. would be really fun too.
I think my first choice would always be Matthew Lillard.
Ooh, yeah.
Or the collective of Jox Machina. Okay. This next question comes from Calico for both of you. And what is your favorite NPC that you've made?
Favorite NPC?
Oh. That's tough.
That's right. It's out here asking the hard-hitting question.
Oh.
So many.
There's so many good ones. And there's so many bad ones that are just fun. And there's so many good ones.
You know what? I'm sorry. It's the Three Shrubs. The little soft-spoken healer flower, the old grizzled stump mage or wizard, and the young bright-eyed lively bush fighter. Like, I can't. They're great.
Ooh, I've got three for a different reason because I just can't pick between them. We've got Tina, our fox mechanic, just because she's hilarious and I love that character and she's just so goofy and weird.
And she sounds like this no matter when she's talking to you because her voice is so high because her chest is so small. And even when she's in fox form, she talks like any normal person does, and she will sass you.
And her whole workshop is themed around her disability to where she can access everything as a fox.
Love it.
And of course, we have Sylvie. We have the baby dragon that traveled with you guys for so long, who is now on his way home after taking a big hit trying to help Augie, and has realized that adventuring is not for him. And then just, of course, I have to say Opal, just because of how important he became. He was supposed to be a one-off. He was not supposed to be interesting.
Know what you want from us. You introduce a hot drow.
I didn't even introduce a hot drow. I introduced a sad cinnamon roll. And these guys were like, what's this? A lovable NPC? Mine.
You know, I have to add Jessamine to my list too, but it feels almost like cheating because she's kind of a character I play on a video game, so it's like. But yeah, Jessamine's a lot of fun.
I personally think that Terriana should be on there as well.
I thought about it, but I felt it was too obvious.
I mean, who cares if it's obvious?
Terry's a good character.
Terry's awesome.
We need more Terry.
We need to figure out a way to put Terry and Tina in a room together.
That's a world-ending cataclysm.
I think you mean that is going to create a brand new world.
Oh no.
Chocolates and fireworks.
Chocolates, fireworks, and gambling. Oh, and then we can add Halstrom into the mix.
Oh no. The mortal plane will cease to exist.
So what I'm hearing is multiverse crossover.
Oh, hell.
All right. We're dwindling down. We're at the last couple questions.
Oh
How are you guys feeling so far?
I literally just looked at the clock and it saw that we'd been up here for 3 hours. But if there's 2 left, we can finish the list.
Okay. There's 3. How do you feel about 3?
3 is not a couple.
You know, in some places.
You asked how I felt about 3.
All right. Last question from Mr. Sir Duck for both of you. Do you prefer more pre-written story or simply rely on dice rolls to make a scene?
Ooh. It's probably not a great question to ask me because I write story based on if they fail. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of my pre-planning and prepping is this is what happens if they fail. This is what happens if they succeed this role.
Yeah,
For me, having a lot of planned story, even though I know 2/3 of it will never be seen by the players, is good for me because as a DM you're keeping track of so much at once, and having one less thing in a night to keep track of can help you keep your sanity. But having the dice rolls are also important because it makes the characters feel like they have agency, and there's just a tension with the dice roll that you can't get anywhere else. You know, will this person let me pass because they bought my story about delivering a piece of unleavened bread with mushrooms and cheese on top of it to the mayor? And it's just, I'd say you gotta have both. You gotta have both.
Yeah, I agree. because to just have one without the other, it doesn't feel right. To have the story written out and to tell your players, this is what you're going to be doing. Here's how this is going to go, no matter what you want, no matter what you say. That doesn't feel like they're actually getting to play a game. That just feels like you're writing a book with extra steps. And to just solely rely on dice rolls kind of feels the same, but the other direction. If you don't have any plan for where you're going, what you're doing, and your characters or your players are the only ones coming up with everything, you don't have a story to tell.
Oh, and coming up with stuff at the seat of your pants gets exhausting really quick if you're doing it for most of the campaign.
It's so tiring, and even if you're just doing it for most of one session, I write out. I'm not quite as detailed as Doomy is when it comes to writing out if they pass, if they fail, but I'll have a lot of stuff pre-written, and there's still been sessions where I'm doing everything by the seat of my pants. And I'm just exhausted afterwards. So to try to do that for a whole campaign, I don't think I'd be able to do it.
Good question, though.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
It's a good thinker question.
Akami,
Uh-oh.
for you, without spoilers, which part of your map are you most excited for your group to explore?
I am actually most excited for my group to go back to an old location because of some things that have happened that I think is going to be really interesting, because this is from the beginning of the campaign, and I'm really excited to see what their reaction is. Two particular characters, I'm really excited to see what their reaction is going to be to how things have changed.
Are you ready for the last question?
No, I'm not emotionally ready for this.
Is it the same question just directed at me?
No, it's not. It is for both of you.
Although I'm curious, though, for Doomy, what is the most exciting part of your map that, without spoilers, that we have yet to explore?
Yeah, we could take a pivot.
We've been doing it all night. Might as well. Why would we stop now?
The Roaring Mists. This is in the northwestern, almost north central western section of the map. On the road between the Solarian Academy and I can't remember that other town over by the coast.
Have we come close?
Um,
We've been by the academy, right?
No, we haven't been by the academy yet. Jason's been very adamant about avoiding that place altogether. No, you haven't. I mean, Mia and Jason would have flown over it in their off time, but yeah, it's a very large area on the map that is enshrouded in mists. And yeah, if we ever get that far, I would love to see how our party handles that place.
Intriguing.
I think I have a character who's actually staying at the academy.
Yeah.
But my Eric Cocker Bard, I think he's still there.
Pivot over.
Pivot back.
Are we ready for the last question?
Yes.
Okay, for both of you. What would you like to say to your players?
Get therapy. All of you.
Please place your head between your knees and kiss your ass goodbye.
Thank you.
No. Seriously. Seriously, folks. Seriously.
Kiss your butts goodbye. Oh god.
To my players, I mean, I've said this before to them, but I'll say it again. I want to thank my players for giving me the last few years that have been so much fun creating and writing and just entertaining almost once a week, sometimes twice a week. And the amount of support and encouragement that my friends have given me through not just D&D but the project of setting up these channels and DuWo and streaming and getting me out there. We're a team, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face or until you guys believe me. DuWo is not mine. DuWo is everybody. Everyone who contributes to DuWo, it is ours. DuWo may have started, the abbreviation was Doomy's World, but it's come a long way since then, and this is us. And just want to thank everyone for being a part of it with me.
And to kind of
That was beautiful.
adorable.
Mm-hmm.
And to echo Doomy's thoughts, including put your head between your knees and kiss your butts goodbye. Also, I don't apologize for what I'm about to do to all of you. But thank you for giving me a chance. For coming on this journey with me as I discover how to be a DM kind of again. Because I had been a DM before for online groups, but it was always very disjointed, very non-committal. And to have this group that we have and the whole of DuWo. Thank you everyone for sticking with it as long as you have. For sticking with me as long as you have. And continuing to go on this journey. And thank you, especially Doomy, for forcing me to put myself out there, because you were far more confident than I was that I would be able to do this, and you were right. And I will always be grateful for you taking the chance to be like, hey, come do this with me. Come join this. Be a part of this. And for everyone who has been with us as we evolve.
I think that is a wonderful sentiment to wrap up tonight's talk. I would like to thank everyone who tuned in for showing up and showing out for our DMs tonight. I'd like to thank our DMs for coming with your sass, but also your vulnerability. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to share this time with you. So, without further ado, let's do a recap. Check out our socials. We'll be back next week. I'm your host, Try. This has been DuWo Talk, DMing with the DMs. Thank you, and have a good night.